Okay, so this is a tutorial for setting up servers using Echo Relay if you've already watched the other client video. It's not too hard. So the first step is to go to your web browser and download echolelay.zip. This is just a version of the Echo Relay taken from a GitHub that I've built myself. Once you have the zip file downloaded, you just want to open it up and just drag it into a folder of your choice. In my case, I'm just going to put it on the desktop. And once you've done that, you just want to go in and go to echolelay.app, go to bin, debug, and you want to right click and run as administrator the echolelay.app file. Press yes on the prompt. Now it will say application settings have not been configured, so it's time to configure your settings. The first thing you want to do is executable. You want to find where you installed your Echo Arena, go to binary, win10, and select Echo VR. Next is the TCP port. This defaults to 777, however I've set it to 4080 just for personal preference. And then this will be clear, you just want to set a random folder for the database folder. It just holds all the information for the server. So I just created a new server folder in my documents. You might also want to untick start server on startup, as it's not very useful, and then you just want to save your settings. Once you're in this page, the first thing you want to do is simply toggle the server on. When you have that, you want to take this service config that's been generated and save it. And this will be your config file that you send to clients with a few edits though. So you want to get this into your your Echo Arena folder, and then you want to put it into local config.json. Just overwrite that one. However, you do want to make a few changes to this one. You want to go into this config file. When you're sending it first, you want to change the account name. So this will be for your character. So in my case, I changed it to Yamari, and password, just anything random like password. It's not really a big deal. And when you're sending it to other people, you want to save this one and you want to make a separate one. So I'd recommend duplicating it, making a copy and naming this one config client. In this one, you simply want to get rid of the server DB host section. Ensure that the auth is kept the same as yours, and just change the display name to whoever's using the client for it. You can just save that and send that off to people. The next step of the tutorial is to port forward the ports that will be required to use the server. So you want to first go into SourceDB, RAD15, JSON, R14, and as such, and go to multiplayer. And sorry, not multiplayer. You want to go to config, and where it says netconfig underscore dedicated server, go to this one, and it will show you here the port that you need to forward. In this case, 6792. Now that we know we have port 6792 to port forward, and we also have port 4080 in my case, in your case it will likely be port 777 to forward. You just need to forward them. If you know how to do that already, you can just skip this part of the tutorial. But if you don't, here's a quick tutorial. You just go to your browser, you type in 192.168.0.1. Usually that gets you to your gateway. I have Virgin in my case. For you, it might be a bit different. You want to enter the password for the router, which is usually on the bottom, or if you've changed it, you'll know it. Once you've logged in, you want to go to Advanced Settings, Security, or wherever your port forwarding section is. Now, once you're in the port forwarding section, you want to create a new rule, and you want to find your local IP. So to do this, you just want to go to your command prompt and type in ipconfig. Once you've done that, you'll see IPv4 address under your current network adapter, and it will say 192.168.0.something, and that something is what you want to put into here. You then want to do local start port and end port. This will be, in my case, 4080, in your case, 777, first of all, for all of them. Protocol, just choose both, and enabled, choose on, then press add rule. For the next rule, you want to do the same thing, except this time with the port that was in your config file, which is 6792 in my case. And for the protocol, just choose both and enabled on, again, add rule. Once you've completed port forwarding, the next step you'll want to do is load up the Echo Relay app. Remember to run it as an administrator. And you'll want to start the server. So this play button starts the actual server itself. The next thing you want to do is you want to go to your search and type in firewall and go to Windows Defender Firewall. Now this is something that I found during my testing that needs to be off. There may be a way to allow it through, but I'm not quite sure, so I just turn it off. Okay, you'll get a notification telling you that it's turned off. I'd recommend only keeping it off whilst the server's in use. Turn it on the rest of the time. You can close that now. And now what you want to do is you want to press this button, which will launch a game server in the headless mode, which means there'll be no graphics. It'll just be a command prompt. There may be a few red error messages, but they are just perfectly normal, and you can just ignore them. Once you get all of these yellow messages, you can test it, and assuming everything's going well, you're going to go to Tools, launch Echo VR, and I'd recommend trying the windowed no OVR client. This will load the game, and there'll be two outcomes. Either you'll get a logging in message, and if you do that, it means that something has gone wrong, or you'll be loaded straight into the menus like this. The last step, in order to get into private matches using only one server, is not too hard. Just want to quit out. And you'll want to go to Spark, which I assume you have installed. You want to keep this running, and you just go to Spark. Once you're in, you want to be in this choose server section. You want to choose your region and the map. You can choose from all these maps. And then game mode, I'd recommend leaving default unless you know you have a specific game mode that you want to try. Once that's done, you can either have spectator mode on or off. If you're going to play, you'd have it off, and you just want to press launch. Once you get this end user license agreement, this will mean that you're loading into a server. And as you can see, waiting for server to load the private match. And now your server will be loading the private match, and then you'll be in. Once you're in, to get other people into the game, you simply want to send them your client config, which will be, remember, in underscore local this config client. You want to get them to change their name and rename it to just config.json. And then all you have to do is copy your Spark link and send it to them, and they'll be able to join.